Hi everyone. Today let's talk about the Bank of Australia hiking 25 basis points. Then I want to talk through some charts and a little bit of psychology. If you like trading stocks and options and making money, definitely like and subscribe. I make videos every single day that the market is open, so make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Welcome to the Portfolio Bulletin. Let's get started. So the Bank of Australia hiked 25 basis points this morning. And this is mainly interesting to me because they actually already had a pause. They mentioned here they had a pause here at their April meeting, and now they're going back to hikes, which is definitely interesting. They're a little bit more conservative at the Bank of Australia, and they were concerned about some of the longer term effects. But we are still seeing inflation, and they decided to hike another 25 basis points, and their market fell nearly 1% on that news. They also mention here that South Korea's inflation rate continues to slow, but it's quite high still at 3.7%. And their markets actually climbed on that news, up nearly 1% and 1.5%. Hong Kong also went a little bit higher, nearly 0.25%. And the Aussie market was actually the worst performer in that time zone. And moving over to the economic calendar just for a moment, you can see the EU had their core CPI data. It did come in slightly better than expectations, 0.1% lower on a month-over-month basis and a year-over-year basis, but still very high here at 5.6% and 1% month-over-month. And then looking at the headline numbers, you can see 7%, which was in line with expectations, but still extremely high. Moving over to the charts, I just want to highlight Etsy here because this has actually been a pretty good exercise for me in terms of liking a stock and potentially seeing a setup, but being very patient for that setup to come to fruition here. So you can see some lows in June of 22 down at $71. The October low, which was the market low, actually was much higher here at $90.96, which is my next lower level of horizontal support. And then we've kind of been in this falling wedge. I've been talking about that for a bit here. In fact, pre-market, we're actually down at that support level, which is interesting. I was also watching the $100.50 level, waiting to see if that held. And this stock just continues to fall here. So I'm being very patient. If I had gotten in too early here, I would definitely be underwater as we continue to trend lower. You can see the RSI low was actually at this low from March, where we hit an RSI read of 2761. Current RSI read is at 3423. So clear divergence, lower RSI with higher prices, lower prices with higher RSI, definitely looking like it's getting ready to set up, but I'm being very patient, and you always have to respect the price action. Price action is king, and ultimately I do think this is going to go higher at some point, but it's just not showing us that quite yet, and it continues to trend lower. And you have to be patient on stocks like this, especially when you're trading them off of the daily time frame. The longer the time frame, the longer it may take to set up. It's also worth noting that Etsy does have earnings coming up. I believe it's tomorrow, so definitely be patient here if you're looking at Etsy. I do think 90.69 is a strong level based on these wick highs going back to June and July, as well as that low here in November. So I do think this is an important level, and it still does look like a bullish falling wedge. But again, it continues lower, the trend is lower, and you have to be patient. Moving over to Roku and NVDA. Roku is hitting an interesting level here, right in the middle of this previous consolidation coming off of the 200 SMA. This is definitely bearish. We are in a bit of a downtrend on the daily chart, but this is an interesting level and it seems to be holding that level at least here in the short term. Momentum on the daily chart is starting to move a little bit towards bullish, so keeping an eye on this one, definitely interesting. Roku does not have earnings coming up, so it's in good shape. This might see a little bit of a rally here today. Moving over to NVIDIA, I'm not sure how I missed this in yesterday's video, but you can see this is rallying. It broke out of this range that we were watching and went straight to that next level, 298.46. And zooming out here to the weekly view, you can see that level right here. This is the very top of the market going back to 28 March of 22. And then the next level above that is up at 304.55, which is these wicks going back to December of 21. So overall, still super bullish. Momentum is fading. We are overbought on the weekly chart, but this is still a very powerful rally. You can see this super long-term trend line. We're above that level, kind of retested it and going higher. NVIDIA still looking very good. It's down a little bit pre-market, which is interesting, about $2. But if this starts to show some support and we break above this 289.46 level, then there might be about another $15 of upside potentially over the next week or two. Moving over to the dollar real quick, you can see we sold off into the evening, found some support at the 144 EMA here on the 15-minute chart, went up to that next trend line, rejected as you would suspect, finding some support, and we're rallying here now during the pre-market. And the dollar continues to look quite strong down here going into the FOMC meeting. Moving over to the VIX here on the hourly chart, we talked about that divergence in yesterday's video. And here we have the VIX moving higher. We're above the 50 line on RSI. Momentum starting to fade a little bit. Maybe we see a bit of a pullback into the pre-market or into the open. Hit that 21 EMA on the hourly. That would be interesting, sitting down at 1625. If we find support there and we start to go higher, that might be pretty bearish here for stocks in the short term. Remember, FOMC is tomorrow, so I don't expect a ton of movement, but it's certainly something to watch. Looking at my leftover positions here, not much has changed. Pricing for the NASDAQ is basically flat, still sitting at 322. In good shape with all of these positions. Looking at the futures here, I'm down at 13,270, and the NASDAQ is currently trading about 20 handles higher here on the futures contract, and this is a put option, so as long as we close above this level, I'll be in good shape, and this does expire here today. I don't have any plans to hold positions into the FOMC tomorrow, so we'll see how that plays out, but right now I'm not planning on taking any new positions here today unless we see a pretty good opportunity, and like I said, it'll be a short-lived position because I'm not trying to hold anything into the meeting tomorrow. Let me know down in the comments section what you think of these morning update videos. They've been getting pretty good views, so I'm going to take that as a positive, and as long as they keep doing well, I'll keep making them in the assumption that you guys have been liking the format. So let me know. Definitely like and subscribe if you found any value in it. Check out the Patreon and the Twitter. I really appreciate the support. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great day.